So when somebody asked about arcs, it occurred to me that it might be useful to talk about them a little bit. If nothing else, it might give you a little more insight into how graphics libraries work. So I've copied this from the wheel example, got rid of math because I don't need math for this one. And here's the documentation page for tkinter arcs. And most of this stuff we don't care about. The first one we care about is this one, extent. And that means that that's the number of degrees that the arc is going to encompass, all right? So canvas.createArc. Now, like an oval, you give it the bounding box that the arc is going to be in. So actually, let's start off by creating a rectangle, okay? And we're going to make it 100, 100, 300, 300. And now we're going to create arc, and it's going to have the same parameters. The extent is going to be 180 degrees, so it's going to be half a circle. Let's see what else we got here. Start. So it's going to be 0, so it's going to start at the right hand side of the arc, and it's going to go 180 degrees to the left. And I think, so we need to have the style. And we'll experiment with each of these, but we'll start off with style equals tk.arc. All right, so let's see what that gives us. So here's the bounding box, and our arc is centered in the middle of the box, and it starts over here, goes 180 degrees. Actually, it might be a little bit better if I said, first off, we're going to reverse these. I like to think of the start angle first. So we're going to start it at 20 degrees, and we're going to make it go for 140 degrees. That way we don't run into the box. Okay, so now you can see, so it starts, if you could measure this angle here, you'd find that's 20 degrees, and it goes for 140 degrees, so if you measure this angle, you'd find that's also 20 degrees, okay? So when you're trying to draw an arc, you may be thinking about where this point is, but this point is not evident anywhere in this description because we have the bounding box, the start angle, and how far the arc goes. I could also make this 340 degrees, and then you'd see the arc goes most of the way around. Let's see. So positioning this point of an arc can be a challenge. You can get that point by doing some math again. So let's see. So it would be the coordinates of that point. So let's suppose I want to draw a dot at that point, okay? So I want to canvas.createOval, and of course my oval doesn't. All right, I'm going to create a line because we know what the x and y's of a line look like. So I want to have a line whose endpoint is there, so it crosses the end of that arc. Where is that going to be? Well, to find the position of that point, we have to say point x equals cosine of, we need degrees to radians, don't we? Degrees to radians, 20, times the radius of that circle, which is half the distance across this square. So it's 200 wide, so the radius is 100, plus the center x right there, which is 200, 200, right? So that's the px, and the py equals math.sine degrees to radians 20 times 100 plus because things are negative, I need to make that a, well, I'll just say minus that, okay? So negative of all of that. So now I can say create line px minus 1, py minus 1, px plus 1, py plus 1. And that would give us a line that intersects the end of that arc. Except I need to import math. And I'm just going to go steal degrees to radians from our wheel example. It's not hard to rewrite, but why rewrite it when I can steal it, right? So we do that. And that gets rid of all of our squiggles. And so if we run that, and I didn't make any hideous mistakes, if my line is there, it's too small to see. Oh, it's slanted this way. That's why it's hard to see. So it should be px minus y, py plus 2, plus 2, and this should be minus 2. Did I do that right? I think so. Okay, now we can see the little line there, just barely visible, but that did in fact hit that point. So if you want to know what that point is, you have to keep track of the angle to there and use math to find it. And so if we were trying to draw another arc, let's take our extent back to 140, and we'll get rid of the rectangle for the moment. But this is going to give me just the arc now. Let's suppose I want to make another arc that's going to touch right there. Well, now I have to so now I have to do a lot of math to figure out where that point is. Or let's see. So if so we're going to call this dx and dy. So now I want to do a canvas dot create arc, and let's see. So it's 200 plus dx is the left-hand side of the bounding box. need to subtract off, I think I'm subtracting dy. That's a coincidence, kind of. No, that's not right. So it's minus 100 minus dx. No, that's not at all right. So, looking at this again, I need to find the bounding box that's going to come right by there. No, the bounding box has to come back here, right? Because this doesn't go to the end of the bounding box. So the bounding box has to be here. And so if I create my rectangle for a moment, that's certainly going to be it's going to be 200 plus dx 100, and it's going to be 500, 300, and that's not quite the right box. Let's see what box that gets us. Okay, so that box touches here, but if I just draw an arc with those coordinates, so I do a canvas dot create arc, and I do 200 plus dx 100, because I'm just copying those coordinates, right? Start equals 20, extent equals 140. We didn't play with styles, did we? We'll play with styles in just a minute. That's going to miss because it's that far offset from the edge of the box, right? So we need to move left by that distance. What is that distance? That distance is 100 minus dx. Okay, and that's what I wrote before, but I changed my mind. It was actually right. Because if I don't subtract that from the other x-coordinate, then this will no longer be a circular arc. But that will now... Oh, I did forget to... let's get rid of the bounding rectangle. We don't really care about that anymore. So now those two arcs touch at that point. But it takes a little bit of work to figure out where that point is and to create the second arc so it touches there. Alright? So that's the challenge with arcs. Because of the way they're specified based on that bounding box. They're not specified based on their endpoints. I was going to show you what this does. Chord draws the line between those two endpoints. Why would you ever want to do that? Well, I don't know. But if you did, that's what happens. So it draws the line between the endpoints. PySlice, I think is what they called the other one. Yeah, all one word. As the name suggests, shows you where the center of the arc is and the lines to those points. So that might help visualize how to find those points, because now you can see that line there and you can make the angle there. So yes, drawing with arcs is a little more challenging than drawing other shapes, especially when you want them to intersect other shapes. Now, one thing I wanted to see, just out of curiosity, I want to see what chords gives me for arc. Probably it just gives me the bounding box. Yeah, so it doesn't tell me anything about the start and extent. How can we get tk-enter get arc extent? Yeah, I know how to do all that, how to create the extent. How do I keep track of it? Options of an arc. Bounded by that rectangle. But I want to get and set the extent because I wanted to do something kind of an animation. tk-enter change arc extent. That's not coming from it. Those are all the options to try drawing it. Methods on Canvas widgets. All Canvas objects support these methods. Chords. Can move by passing in new coordinates, yeah. I'll find closest find focus. It's probably not tags. Well, oh. So item cget and item configure looks like what I want. So let's do canvas dot, what was that? How can I forget so quickly? Item cget arc start. Don't know if that's going to work, but we'll give it a try. Name start is not defined. Can I do it as a string? No. Ah, and that got the start. And so item configure will set it. All right. So now what we want to do is root.after, and we'll start with 500 milliseconds. Change arc. So now we need to write def change arc start equals canvas dot get item cget arc. I have to make that a string. Start extent equals canvas dot item cget arc extent canvas dot item configure arc start option equals value, so it's not a string this time, I think, equals start plus 10 extent equals extent plus 20. Root.after 500 change arc, which looks like a recursive call, but it's not really. Let's see what that does. Whoops. Can only concatenate string. Item configure. Oh. This is probably a string. Let's see what that does. I didn't exit that drawing. Okay. That wasn't exactly what I expected to happen, but all right. So by changing the start and the extent at different speeds, get a snake that's chasing its tail, except it disappears when they intersect. Let's see, so make this after, make that after 10. Much better. So there. Is that having fun with arcs? It would be better if I was changing the color as I went along, but I thought that might be a little entertaining. It is for me. Hope it is for you. Thanks for watching.